Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and here with the guys, the fellas, the gentlemen, if you will. Welcome back, Damon Williams.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be back. How are ya?
Good. How are you?
Doing well today.
Good. Good. I know that you were away taking care of, supporting a friend who had a recent loss, and we're glad that you are returning and hoping that you've had a happier and more fun-filled week.
Yeah, since then, it's been up and down, but the ups were really way up there. So it's been pretty good.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Cameron Riley. How are you?
Hi. Hey, Sybil. Hi, Damon. I'm also just I was also in bereavement at the loss of my uncle. My cousin's father passed away, but
Oh, I'm so
uh,
sorry.
oh no, it's fine. I am stepping into my role as family chaplain.
I
I
didn't
had
know
to.
that was your role.
That is my role.
How long have
Um,
you been the family chaplain?
Ever since I was a little boy, I was always asked to say prayers. I was always asked to kind of like speak before certain ceremonial things. And this latest homegoing ceremony really sort of cemented it. I was on the program. I was asked to speak, and kind of like before the official proceedings began, and now I'm also putting together the Christmas party planning committee. Um, I am the grandson of the oldest living uncle and the oldest living aunt, so I'm
You're the
kind of like the general
grandson
of things
of the
now.
oldest living uncle and oldest living aunt. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm
The
kind of like the
grandson of the
general now.
matriarch and the patriarch.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
That's a better way of thinking. Thank you, Damon.
yeah.
So I'm sorry, was it a sudden loss of your uncle?
No, he had Parkinson's. We knew he was going to go for a while.
Got it. Got it. Damon, you went to support a friend who has been a colleague of yours, and most recently having to do with the Martha's Vineyard Comedy Festival.
Well, yes, that also, David Arnold, you're speaking
Well, no,
of.
I was talking about not David, but I
Right.
understand that you were there to support a friend last week.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, this weekend. Are you talking about Dion? Oh no, you're talking about Steve. Oh, Steve Capers for the bereavement. Yes,
yeah.
yes, we talked. Yeah, Steve Capers lost his wonderful mother, Ethel Capers, and she was a founding chapter member of the AKA sorority at Northwestern.
Wow.
I think it was Northwestern, either Northwestern or NIU, but I hate to be
It was one of those North universities.
misspeak. Yeah, it was somewhere in Illinois with the North involved. But one of the first founding people, just found that organization back then, and they came out. Her
Oh
people
yeah.
came out, and they did something I'd never seen. They had roses, and each rose either had a stencil of her likeness or
Mhm.
her name on it, and it was a lot of roses. So kudos to Steve Capers, Steve and Dorothy Capers, and they put their mom away nicely. Yes.
And as you mentioned, since last we spoke, and we lost David Arnold, the comedian, and you recently worked with David.
Yeah, he was at the Martha. He closed the week out, and was going forward to do some great things. Had another tour going out. He was completing his third Netflix special, and it was sudden and devastating. And in fact, he was actually in the in memoriam section of the Emmys last night.
I saw that.
They
I
Mhm.
did
saw.
acknowledge him. So,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
But I think a lot of that had to do with the production of if I'm not mistaken, Reggie Hedlund was the producer of that show, and so
yeah, that helped.
black people did shine at the Emmy Awards, and
Yeah,
they
but
certainly,
but but David, yeah, he was more than just a comedian. He was a writer prolifically on
yeah.
television. So he was known as a television writer for Tyler Perry and other projects. He had a project of his own. It's either on Nickelodeon or
That
Disney.
girl Lele,
That
yeah.
girl Lele,
hmm
yeah. So he created that with Will Packer.
And
So,
was behind the one of the forces behind the I guess Full House 2.0, Fuller House, that
wow,
had several
Oh,
successful seasons.
busy man.
Yeah, he
yeah,
was, and
definitely.
a comedic genius. really, and was at that point in his career where it was, I mean, he was already taken off, but it was going
Yeah.
to a whole nother level.
Yeah, he was accomplished, but now he was about to reach stardom as well. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's why I'm telling people now, love on me now. Let's get me to this next level because I
Okay,
don't want it to
okay,
be. He was
okay.
just about to make it, and
We will always love on you because we
yeah.
appreciate you, Damon Williams, and your comedic genius as well.
Thank
All
you.
right, so gentlemen, let us move to the What You Need to Know newsletter and talk about this a little bit. This, of course, is our Monday through Friday venture. We have this newsletter that super serves the African American community. We'd love for you to be a part of it and to subscribe. It is free. Please go to sybilwilkes.com to give us your name and your email address. That's all you have to do. And we will have it in your email box first thing Monday through Friday morning. And as I mentioned, we do super serve the African American community with our stories, politics, health, and wellness, as well as social justice and LGBTQ plus stories. We have the Black and Fit section. And going back to our earlier days, a little known Black history fact, as well as the HBCU corner, which we have brought forth and having to do with our relationship with historically Black colleges and universities. So with all of that in mind, Khameron, as our political contributor, I'd like to know, as goes Kansas, can the same be said of Michigan in this fight over abortion?
Yeah, never. It is never a wrong time to talk about the battle for reproductive rights. And Michigan petitioners collected 750,000 signatures, far more than the, say, 500,000 required to propose that the constitutional amendment to voting rights be placed on the ballot this November. So this November, if you are a Michigan voter, please show up to the polls because you will have the opportunity to vote on whether or not women have access to abortions across Michigan state proper. And Michigan joins California and Vermont as a group of states who have elected to have the people decide the fate of reproductive rights.
And Michigan is pretty conservative. At least I know they have a Democratic governor, and she's in a tough fight in her reelection effort. But Michigan was one of those states that came out well in advance of the insurrection on January 6th of 2021. They came out well in advance of that, and they were seen. Michiganders were seen at the state capitol, guns drawn, and they were ready to to step in and take over the government, not to mention a plot to kidnap the governor. So with these things in mind, Khameron, just from your research, how does it look for the state of Michigan and regarding this particular ballot measure?
Well, you're right, Sybil. Michigan is a very interesting case study. It has a very large Black population in very dense cities. However, polls have shown that women have shown up to the polls in record numbers in recent elections past, and they are ready to protect their rights to this issue. So we're hoping that the same goes for the state of Michigan. We're hoping that the same goes for California. We're hoping that the same goes for Vermont. So we're looking forward to good news this November.
So those are pretty progressive states. The state of Vermont, that is a Bernie Sanders state. The state of California is known for being very progressive, and it's kind of a half and half state in some respects. When you look at a governor like Gavin Newsom, right, who is a progressive Democrat, that is the home state of the Vice President Kamala Harris, but it's also the state of the man who would like to be the next Speaker of the House, and that's Kevin McCarthy, a Republican, who will not take or show responsibility, point the finger of responsibility at Donald Trump for the insurrection, because he wants all of those conservative voters or Trump acolytes. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, California is also really interesting. When you leave the city, when you leave the dense cities, and make your way across to some of like the smaller towns or some of the backwoods, Black people, you should just not stop there.
Yeah.
Because there's Klan activity afoot.
Yeah, for sure. And you don't think Klan activity, as you say, in the state of California. It's more, southern Midwest and certainly in the Great West, Wyoming and states like that. But you don't think of it in terms of California. But once you get out of Los Angeles, once you get out of San Francisco, Oakland, and cities like that, Sacramento, I got cousins that live in Orange County, and they're looking around every chance they get, because you just never know.
It's sort of like Illinois. I mean, once you leave
Yeah.
Chicago, Peoria, Springfield, it's just like this quack that's running for governor
Oh my gosh,
daily.
Bailey. Yeah.
Yeah. So, America, it's a tripped out place to be. I'll just put
It
it that
really
way.
is. And you know what, Damon? That is probably one of the best headlines that we could possibly give what we're going through, what we're living through. America, a tripped out place. Because everything is upside down.
Yes.
Who would have thought that the Republican Party would have been talking about defunding the police, and not only defunding them, but killing them?
Right.
Yeah.
And the FBI, other law enforcement agencies. And who would think that the Democrats would be, fighting for these people who are on our streets in some respects? So it's a tripped out place, and I'm going to give you credit for that, but I'm going to use it again because
You should.
because it is absolutely apropos.
Because they want to defend bodies in the womb, but they want to have guns to kill people walking around. So
There you go. There you go. And they like to have. They want all the rights. They want their personal rights. They don't want the government to come in and take over these rights, and yet they don't have a problem with it regarding reproductive rights. Right.
Yep.
And speaking of which, stay tuned to our newsletter tomorrow and to our show, as we will be bringing about a very special project, and that our company, Yossi Media, with Yolanda Starks White and myself, our company and our staff, has put together a wonderful PSA, and we're very proud of it. And it will be debuting tomorrow, and we'll be talking about it all day, from the newsletter on to our live show and streaming show. So please stay tuned for that. All right, gentlemen, let's talk about banking while Black. We've heard stories like this before, but here we have another example of Black folks with a lot of money taking a check in, and the white bank tellers don't believe that this is real.
Yeah.
This is a case, and once again, we're just going to stay in the state of Michigan for right now, fellas.
Okay, cool.
This is a story about a 71-year-old Black woman who is retired. Her name is Lizzie Pugh. She won $20,000 at a casino and resort in Michigan in April.
Nice.
And she paid the taxes. She was all straight with the casino. One of her sons suggested that she open a savings account at the bank upon which the check was drawn. The Detroit native took her check to her local Fifth Third Bank to cash her check, which never made sense. That name it's been explained to me several times, the name of that. But 3 white employees inspected the check. They looked it up and down. They, tried to look for watermarks and everything. And they said they didn't think the check was real. They declared that it was a fraud. And they informed her that she could not open any account with this check. The check was fraudulent, refused to give it back to her, and said she couldn't open the account. So she said, well, Miss Pugh, she may be 71 and she may be retired, but she's quick. And she said, I'm not leaving this place without my check.
Yeah.
I won that fair and clear. So they gave it to her reluctantly, and they eventually returned it to her, and she was able to deposit check at her usual bank. Well, she has now filed a federal lawsuit in August, alleging that her race was a motivating factor, hence banking while Black, and that she charged that the employee's actions and the bank itself violated her civil rights by discriminating against her. When are they going to learn?
especially if you're a teller, it's not your damn money.
It's not
Right.
your
Yeah.
money.
You know what I mean? If you bring me a check and I work at the bank, if it passes the scan test and it's in there.
Right. Yeah. Move on.
That's
Move
their
on.
that's their issue to deal with later. It was a Fifth Third Bank check that the casino used them as their bank. Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Right. And they got to know only old black women are at the casino. Everybody know.
In Detroit, they know this.
Come on now. All the old black women are at the casino. So yeah,
And
you're
they-
bound to get a. Is she the only winner they've come across? That's how you know these casinos are corrupt. If that's the first black old woman with all the black women in the casino all day and night, this is the first time they encountered a black woman with a $20,000 check. That
in
ought
the
to tell you.
casinos.
Exactly.
It boggles the mind, and if this had been any one of our aunties or our grandmothers, we would be right there with her and yelling to the highest people in the federal government, because this is a federal lawsuit now, against her civil rights and fighting for her civil rights and against them for stupidity and for racial discrimination.
Yeah.
Indeed.
You did the right thing in not leaving the bank, because it's not like the casino would have wrote her another check.
Right. Yeah. Oh, we destroyed that. Oh, the hell you did. Yeah.
Not to mention they ran her pressure up.
Okay.
Yes.
My pressure bad.
Come on now, you can't be running old people's pressure up. That's
not to mention, Damon, she may have the sugar. We don't know what other.
my sugar high, my pressure up, and you're on my last nerve. These are all black medical conditions that are affected when you treat us this way. I don't know what that last nerve is, but you're not supposed to get on it. I know that much.
Oh, you do everything you can to stay off of that last nerve. I'm telling you. This is absolutely crazy, and I hope she wins, and I hope she takes them, to the cleaners.
Yeah, exactly. Federal court and civil court.
Yeah, absolutely. One more story we wanted to give an update. We don't do this as often as we should, but this is some good news, and this is as far as the Ukrainian war, the Russians' war against Ukraine, I should say, and they're making significant progress in their war. They have had, just in a few days, they report that their military has recaptured large parts of territories in eastern Ukraine. Ukrainian troops took back a strategic city known as Izium and areas around the country's second largest city, which is Kharkiv. And initially, Russia said, well, no, we're just pulling back in order to regroup. And by the time the weekend was over, Moscow acknowledged that it lost nearly all of its northern sections that it had gained surrounding the city of Kharkiv. And this is really good news. Even on Monday, the Associated Press is reporting that they retook a wide swath of territory from Russia, claiming to have captured many Russian soldiers as a part of their lightning advance. So not only did they regain a lot of the territory, but they took as military hostages a lot of Russians. And they said in some cases the Russians were just like, you got us. Okay, let's go. Where do we go? Is one of those kind of things. So it is good news. And what I said in the article is that this is something that the allies need to see, especially the European allies, because we will soon be in the midst of cold weather, and Russia has a stranglehold over the oil supplies as well as the prices. And so if they can see some progress in this and maybe get back to a normal relationship that they had with the Russians, at least business relationship, if that is to ever happen. But also for Americans to see, for the billions and billions of dollars in manpower, in military equipment, and all the other things that have gone to in food and however many other things we've given them money for. It's good for Americans to see this progress, because for far too long we've been like, oh my gosh, how much longer and how much more money are we, the United States, giving? And especially when you think of the United States going through a difficult time of its own right along through here.
Yep. Go Ukraine.
Yeah, and the blue and yellow flags were flying proudly, so that is good. And Khameron and I will be keeping an eye on that situation. And lastly, want to remind you, please take a look at the contribution of CPA Katrina M. Kraft in the What You Need to Know newsletter, and her headline, Make More Money with Your Small Business. And we can always want to do that. So we will continue to give you those tips on a weekly basis. All right, gents, let's move to what's really going on.
Right.
And of course, that is our question of the day. And I don't know if you saw it, but hopefully you've seen some of the television coverage of the Television Academy's awards show, the Emmy Awards. And Black Woman Excellence was in full effect at the Emmy Awards, as you may know. And one particular area, especially women both in front of and behind the camera, the great Cheryl Lee Ralph gave the most inspirational and powerful speech with her win for Best Supporting Actress in a Comedy in Abbott Elementary. Abbott Elementary creator, comedian, Quinta Brunson demonstrated grace and humor as she accepted her award for Best Writing in a Comedy, while late night talk show host Jimmy Kimmel committed to a lame bit and played unconscious at her feet. They couldn't even give her a tight shot just of her without having some part of Jimmy Kimmel's body, primarily his feet and legs, in the shot. And so she played it cool. And as I said, she exhibited a great deal of grace. And also, singer Lizzo provided an inspiring moment when she spoke to a younger Lizzo. So that brings us to our question. If who you are now reached out to your younger self, what advice or words of wisdom would you impart? So Lizzo, in her speech, and while you all are thinking about this, if you could talk to your younger self, everybody who's watching and listening, if you could talk to your younger self, what advice, what words of wisdom, where you are now, would you impart to a younger Lizzo? So in her emotional speech, Lizzo won for Watch Out for the Big Girls in the reality TV series and winning in that category. Beating out Amazing Race, Top Chef, RuPaul's Drag Race, and what have you. And so during her speech, she opened up about her reason for starting the show, which followed her as she searched for a new group of big girls to be her backup dancers and accompany her on tour. And she said, when I was a little girl, all I wanted to see was me in the media. Someone fat like me, Black like me, beautiful like me. If I could go back and tell little Lizzo something, I'd be like, you're going to be that person, B. And she said, but B, it's going to have to be you. And this is for my big girls. So reaching back to her younger self, she said, you know, you're going to go through a lot, but you have to be the person to bring this about that you're wishing for.
And so, she did it eloquently too, because it would have been, I don't think it would have been inspirational to look at a little girl and say, you is Black, you is fat, and you is beautiful. So the way she did it now, but don't try that at home. You is fat, you is Black, and you is beautiful. Watch out for the big girls. Now, what I will say is,
so you know, Lizzo's the help would not have made it.
Right, it wouldn't have helped. And when you go to award shows, when you watch out for a big girl, she had a train that was out of here. It's watch out for the big girl's dress. There was a lot going on with that dress, but it was an inspirational moment. And she is Black and beautiful and accomplished. She's on her way to an EGOT almost.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And as our friend Sherry Shepard said on her new talk show, she said the cast of Grey's Anatomy was under that train. That's how much train there was. It was unbelievable.
It was a lot of train. It was like a freight train. It was like, damn it, I'm gonna miss the light. You know, it's a lot of train. Led by the caboose.
And it's not often the case, but yes,
exactly.
You're absolutely right. So Damon or young Khameron, which one of you would like to talk to your young self first?
I I mean, I think anyone can easily like look back and give their younger selves cautionary tales. But
But okay, we can give cautionary tales, but specifically.
I would rather tell myself, don't be afraid to be that guy. The world needs that guy. And I've always been, I've always had to be the mover and the shaker, the initiator of things, and the person who makes things happen. And I was always kind of afraid at first because I feel like I felt like it set me apart from other people. But
Mm-hmm.
I think the sooner that I owned up to just my role as an agent of change, the better off became. So I would tell myself, don't be afraid to be that guy.
And in your mind and in your head, that guy is the person that is the leader, that is the change maker.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. All right. Damon, we're going to give you a second to still think about that. And we do have comments from people and asking them, if you were in a position to give advice, to impart words of wisdom to your younger self, what would that be? What would it look like? And Lizzo said, you got to be the one. Sonia Maples Sonia Maples on YouTube says, don't marry him.
Here it comes.
Sorry, fellas, but and the other side of that is going to be from the guy saying, don't marry her. I'm pretty sure, I should have listened to my mama. Keaton, Quebec, does that look like what that name is?
Yeah.
Always bet on black. Always bet on black. Whether you're in the casino or
or you're chicken fighting.
Or
Black Rooster.
That's right. That's
the one.
Or you're in the television or comedy business. Bet on black. Tyron Bourne on Facebook says he would tell his younger self, go to college.
Yeah.
That's a great piece of advice too. These are
it's not
all
too late,
really
Tyrone.
good. No, I don't think it's ever too late. I don't think. Carolyn Jones Jameson on Facebook said, this too shall pass. Whatever we're going through, this too shall pass.
I would square up on my older self. If my older self came back to tell me just that, I would probably square up. I'd be like, okay.
So why?
Because I could ask my mom for that kind of advice. I was like, man, you give me any lottery numbers. You give me nothing.
But in effect, it is like a parent, because your adult self giving advice to your younger self.
Yeah, but I said, look, man, like, don't come back with any fortune cookie
okay, well, this too shall pass in bed. Because that's what they tell you to say after you finish reading your fortune ad in bed. Damon, we'll take Shanta and then we'll ask, you are enough. Choose you always. My life motto. You are enough. Choose you always. That's great, Shanta. Yeah. Absolutely. David?
I think I would have tell myself, and this would be just for like a single occasion, don't wrap it up. Because I only got one son, and I wish I had at least one more kid, one more offspring. Because I look around, like, hey man, don't wrap it up.
Not this time.
Yeah, right. Don't worry about it. Leave it in.
Stay a while.
And put it all in.
Right. One more round. Stand up in it.
and accept the monkey. And don't worry about the time. You got all the time in the world.
Yeah.
Because you're doing great work. Look at what I already started.
Right, but in all sincerity, I would say
I can't go anywhere else with you.
Right. No, I would tell myself, be patient. It's going to take a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in this game, everybody wants instant gratification and instant, so you have to be patient. I tell a lot of young people that right now, especially in comedy, enjoy the journey, be patient.
Yeah, I have to tell myself that even today at my advanced numbers, I just, patience is necessary in
Yeah.
this game. So you're absolutely right. Yolanda, if we have other comments, we'd love to hear what people have to say, and I can share with you what I would tell my younger self
Thank
while
you.
we're waiting for that. And it's something that I tell young people, and something I would love to have told my younger self, is to be present. Remember all of these things, the good and the bad. Keep these memories. Don't just try to rush through all of this. Take
Yep.
your time, let it breathe, and enjoy the moment. Um, I think about the fact that, for 25 years, I sat with a front row view of history in many respects. And going back to the Million Man March, broadcasting from South Africa, meeting the president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela, several visits to the White House. I could go on and on.
The 85 Bears, the Bulls run.
Okay. And being in New Orleans for that particular Super Bowl 20. I was there.
Wow.
We weren't inside, but we were
Still.
there. So yeah, I mean, Damon, all of this. And 6 championships with the Chicago Bulls, having been there and watched them and been at the games as they led up to their finally making their championship runs.
Yep.
All of this stuff is really good, as well as relationships with people that that I should have taken more time with. So take your time and be present. And that's the most important thing I could ever share. Darletha Rhodes says, my younger self, save more money and invest it.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, if that's the case, then buy Nike stock.
Tell your younger self.
AMZN. That's the ticker symbol.
Exactly.
That's right. Renee Woodridge on Facebook says it's okay to say no.
Yes.
Mm.
And don't have that go with Damon's initial thought of what he would tell his younger self, because those don't work. They don't
jibe.
No, they don't marry well. So
it's keeper to keeper.
Marcy J on YouTube says, tell your younger self, B, get out of my way and keep it moving. She said B. I don't choose to say that, so
right.
Okay.
Sure.
But
Sure.
Get out of my way and keep it moving. All right, Marcy J.
Gotta get
All
out
right.
of your own way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brenda Brooks Perry on YouTube says, don't listen to college counselors or high school counselors. I would add to that.
Or marriage counselors. I'll add to that.
Don't get a counselor.
Right.
Be your own counselor.
Don't be a counselor either,
Right.
apparently.
Right.
Because a lot of people are wishing you out of business.
Yeah. Keep an eye on that pastor while you're at it.
Right. Counselor, schmounselor.
and let the pastor just stay in the lecture there. Don't have him
Right.
anywhere else. Those are all very funny. That is great stuff. I absolutely adored the Emmys, and I thought that like I said, I thought it was Black woman excellence just personified last night.
And Keenan.
And Keenan. And
Yeah.
Keenan. Regina Glover says, don't always play it safe. Take risks sometimes. She says that on Facebook. And my mom used to always tell me that. She said, that's why God made erasers. Don't be afraid to go out there and make mistakes. And Anthony Sanders on Facebook says, play the field more, young Khameron.
Sure.
There you go. Speaking of Keenan, I thought that he was positively wonderful. I thought that, Reggie Hudlin did a great job in producing it and bringing a lot of great Black talent in the front, and the reconnection between Keenan and Kel.
That was nice.
That was a highlight for me.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was all a pretty good night overall. I would like to have seen some of my favorites win more, like Abbott Elementary, but I thought that Quinta Brunson, she is, I mean, the world is her oyster right now, and whatever Jimmy Kimmel offers you when you go on his show, Quinta Brunson, take it and ask for more because
Right.
because it really did take away from your moment. But you are a true class act, and the way that you responded to it, however much he apologizes, make him apologize and do more for you.
Mhm.
Yes. If
Because
he
that was
possibly can, because you're on top of the mountain right now.
yeah. So
Yeah.
if he comes to you asking for a favor. All right, guys, that was fun. That was absolutely fun, and maybe a question that we'll revisit, give other people a chance to talk about it. If you could revisit and tell your younger self, give a bit of wisdom to your younger self, what would it be? All right, it's time to talk trending topics, things that are happening as we speak in many cases or have happened today. Damon, first of all, let's talk about you and your upcoming comedic dates. Where are you going? Who are you going to be with? Who do you have coming into Riddles?
This weekend at Riddles, I have Coco from Detroit. She's
Oh, tell
yes,
her I said hello.
we
We
love
absolutely,
Coco.
oh my
Yeah,
God, we love
we
her.
love
Yeah.
Coco. So she's returning. I'm actually going to be there Friday. Then Saturday, I'm going to Baton Rouge
All right.
to a place called the Silly Rabbit Comedy Club.
I love that
Uh,
name.
I swear it's the name of it. Then I got a lot of stuff going, which we'll talk about the Tuesday after. But also, I was able to support. That's what I was going to say. Shouts out to everybody that came to the City Winery in DC on Saturday. A lot of my vineyardians came to support in groups.
Nice.
That was beautiful. And then Saturday, I went to Brooklyn to Dion Cole's Netflix special taping, and he has created another
Oh,
classic. We laughed. It was about, there had to be 30, 40 people from Chicago. We all went out and kicked it. And, then he went and DJ with a house music legend, DJ Terry Hunter, after the show. And it was a great time. So, yeah, just go on
wow.
DamonWilliamsComedy.com for my upcoming appearances. But definitely, yeah, I had a great weekend, and I'm looking forward to
I'll
being home
say.
Friday at Riddles. Yeah.
I'll say before you head off to Silly Rabbit,
Yeah.
tricks are for kids.
Hey.
So Damon, how's the DC City Winery is as compared to the Chicago City Winery?
I think it's a little bigger,
Mm,
but the City Winery chain has a vibe that's kind of
yeah,
universal across the board to the ones I've been to. And I'm actually trying to start, or I'm going to start a City Winery series. But
nice.
I want to do music and comedy, like soul comedy or something to that effect. I had already been talking to the Chicago City Winery, so look for that coming up the top of next year. And yeah,
Nice. And I can't
Cool.
wait to hear the other stuff coming up. Khameron, you're working on some projects.
Yeah. Thanks everybody who supported me in the Amplify Series 2 festival. I'll let you all know what the results are for the votes. Hopefully I've racked up enough votes to win. But if not, there were some amazing pieces. This winter, I have a staged production of my new play, Coronary Artery, at Perceptions Theater. Um, and I am in pre production of adapting the play of that same name to a movie, details of which I can formally announce next week.
And does that mean that's when the funding will come through?
Funding's already hit.
All right.
Um,
See,
hey,
okay.
talking about
All
well,
right.
there you
That's what
go.
I'm talking about.
yeah, that's just when they make the official press release
Got it. Okay.
at the end of this week.
Okay. All right. Well, I can't wait to hear more about that. I'm very excited for my guys here having all of this great stuff that is percolating, if you will. So,
Indeed.
Indeed.
absolutely appreciate that. All right. Let's talk about what happened at the White House today. President Biden and Democratic lawmakers gathered at the White House to celebrate passage of the Inflation Reduction Act. This is, of course, the new tax, climate, and healthcare law the Democrats hope will help propel them to victory in the November midterm elections. The president, along with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and the Vice President Kamala Harris, addressed the hundreds of people at the White House South Lawn to hail the enactment of the $750 billion piece of legislation. He signed the bill into law last month, but the White House waited until Congress returned from summer recess to hold a formal ceremony celebrating the new law. And he said that today offers proof that the soul of America is vibrant. I love when he talks about the soul of America. It's the future of America is bright and the promise of America is real. This is what he told the crowd. It is real. It is real. And he also said it is well. But I think that was before the stock market crashed and dropped over 1,200 points. So I'm not sure how he's responding to that this evening.
And I didn't even look at that. I just you know what? Let's see what tomorrow does.
Exactly. Because the last time it had this big of a drop was during the middle of the pandemic in 2020. And we still have more as far as the interest from the feds. The changes continue. And so we still have more time to go. And you're right, Damon. I can't look. I just can't. This law provides $369 billion to fund energy and climate projects aimed at reducing carbon emissions by 40% in 2030, the most significant investment to fight climate change in history. It limits out-of-pocket drug expenses for seniors on Medicare and allow Medicare to negotiate prescriptions for seniors and the prescription drug prices. So you have written about this, Khameron. I have written about it, and it's in full effect. But this was the celebrating part that took place at the White House. So, do you think it's going to help, Khameron, Damon?
We're not going to see anything like instant in the short term, but in the long term, we will see that we will see a lot of relief over the counter, and we will eventually see some relief at the pump as well.
Yeah, well, we're seeing relief at the pump, right? Are you guys seeing it in
but
Chicago?
Gas is like the stock market. That one you just have to deal with it. But the prescription drug negotiations will help because there are people out here cutting their pills in half or picking between a meal in their prescription, the meal or the pill. So that's much needed. Hopefully they'll get that insulin cap passed or adjusted somehow because
for everyone, not just for our seniors, for everybody.
And in a country that's supposedly this great, healthcare should be a given. I mean, it's just that simple. Healthcare and food should be the two things we could provide every citizen in this
everybody. There should be no hungry people. There should be no homeless people, and everybody should be healthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This happened in Chicago. The R. Kelly trial is now with the jury. Deliberations after 8 hours of closing arguments, and for the third time in his life, the R&B superstar is awaiting a jury's decision on his fate. He's been acquitted of child pornography charges in 2008. He was convicted of racketeering conspiracy last year in federal court in New York and sentenced to 30 years in prison. Now the federal jury in his hometown is deliberating yet another indictment. As I said, 8 hours of closing arguments. The panel of 5 men, 7 women were excused this evening after deliberating less than 4 hours without reaching a verdict and expected to return Wednesday morning to continue their discussions. They started at about 1 o'clock this afternoon, and closing arguments took the better part of 2 days. Any thoughts on that?
I'm sure he had no idea when he wrote 12 play it would be a jury.
Okay. That was the furthest thing from his mind.
The 12 play would be a jury. Wow.
Yep, that was not the math that he was anticipating.
Oops.
No. Are you guys familiar with the rapper PNB Rock?
I unfortunately hadn't heard of him prior to his passing.
I'd heard his music, but I didn't know he was the person that made it. 2 of his songs I am familiar with.
Okay. So he was having lunch with his girlfriend and the mother of his children, I guess, or one or more of his, or both of his children, at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in Los Angeles on Monday. And a source connected to the restaurant said a shooter appeared to have targeted him in a robbery. And initially they were blaming the girlfriend because she posted where they were having lunch. But he also posted video of him wearing expensive jewelry earlier in the day. This Philadelphia-born young man moved to LA after signing a record deal with Atlantic Records following his 2014 debut of his mixtape. And his P&B Rock name refers to a street corner in the Philly neighborhood where he grew up, Pastorius and Bainton. And he's collaborated with a lot of the bigs in this business, including Chance the Rapper, Wiz Khalifa, 2 Chainz, Kodak Black, Young Thug, and Ed Sheeran with their songs. And so it's a sad thing. And this was at the last place I would think was, and I'm not making light of it, but Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. And they closed it, but they were open today. The business goes on, I guess.
Yeah, and see, this is the thing, and I know we don't have many young rappers watching us right now, but who knows? Maybe when that's just reposted. A lot of cats, they make it and they leave their hood and lose their edge, and they think they can go out to LA where it's La La Land, but LA is a ruthless place. If you think about how many rappers we've lost in LA, Pop Smoke, Biggie, Tupac, well, Tupac was Vegas, but when he went west, that's when it happened. Nipsey Hussle, it goes on and on. So, you know, LA is nowhere to play, and actually you got to kind of check in if you go to LA. You can't just be out flossing. Even some of the athletes and such, like it's well known that some of the NBA players, in order to be able to ride around in their Mercedes and their Lamborghinis and wear their jewelry, they've checked in with the hood. So don't think, you know, and you feel like you left the hood and went to Hollywood, but Hollywood ain't LA. Right. So keep that in mind. Every time there's any type of All-Star game or Super Bowl or anything in LA, them cats are out there extorting people and getting money. So just let that be a lesson. You know, you leave your neighborhood, you know, but don't floss otherwise. And get you some fake jewelry, or don't even put that stuff on. Let's go back to the red, black, and green medallions. Nobody wanted those. Right? The little leather craft. Yeah, get you some earth beads and some power stones.
Some cowrie shells.
Yeah, be a collector, some shells. Yeah, wear some shells. If you really want to floss, have something valuable, but nobody will bother you, get you some pearls. Get you a string of pearls.
Well, Gerard Carmichael may have that for you.
2 pearl earrings. Yeah, well, you know, that'd be a different, at least it'd be a kindler, gentler robber.
Let me have them pearls, man.
Give me them pearls.
Where are the diamonds to go with that pearl?
Don't clutch them. Give them to me. Give me them pearls. You'll live through that. You know what I mean?
You will survive.
Not too many people got slapped to death. Give me them pearls. Don't clutch it. Give me them pearls.
Damn it.
Earrings too. Give me the pearls.
It's for my grandmas. I don't care.
Yeah, these are my grandma. Give me them pearls.
Tell grandma I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to take them. Oh, Damon. Oh, how I do enjoy you. Okay, let's talk about the owner of the NBA team, the Phoenix Suns. He's been suspended for 1 year after they find that he has this massive penalty, alleged workplace misconduct, and getting banned from the league for 1 season and forced to pay $10 million in fines. The findings of his investigation, after interviewing over 300 current and former Suns employees, and determined that Robert Sarver said the N-word at least 5 times when recounting the statements of others. It's worth noting.
So he talked about the starting lineup.
That N-word number 32.
Right.
N-word, yeah, David, yeah.
5 guys.
5 guys. His use of the N-word was not motivated by racial hate or prejudice, he said. The league also concluded he did not treat, and it was there was some sexual harassment too. He did not.
So what was he listening to, a rap song? How the hell do you use the N-word? He was just rapping along and saying it. What? Please finish, please.
He said that he was just known for just spouting off with the N-word. And using it without care in who he was saying it to, as if he, as a millionaire and maybe a billionaire owner of this team, he could just say the N-word with abandon. As far as women were concerned, he did not treat his female employees equally and made inappropriate comments about their appearances. He engaged in inappropriate physical conduct towards male employees. And in this 300-page finding, they said they find his whole appearance of dealing with people was troubling and disappointing. And this is what Adam Silver said: "We believe the outcome is the right one, taking into account all the facts, circumstances, and context brought to light."
No.
It was overdue for an ego check, but yeah, that's way too soft.
Yeah, because the owner of the Clippers was banned for life.
Yeah.
And this guy will be able to come back. $10 million is nothing to an NBA owner, and 1 year suspension is not either. It should be a 10-year suspension and $100 million, because he was harassing not only just female players, but he was doing things as far as, he owned the Sparks too as well. So I think even referring to their sexuality, it's a whole ball of nasty. He should be banned from the league, or at least have way more than 1 year suspension.
And the $10 million is the absolute most the NBA is allowed to hand down, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So
ridiculous.
It is crazy. It is
crazy. They should just charge him like per
incident.
Yeah,
per N.
Per N.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Per N with the hard ER.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, let us wrap this up. Let's talk about entertainment. And Cardi B goes back home, and she takes her wallet with her. Cardi B went back to her old middle school in New York for a surprise visit, whipped out the checkbook at the end of the visit. The Bronx-born MC went back to the school in the Morris Heights neighborhood, where she spent her 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. Her visit came as a complete surprise to the students and to the principal. I didn't think you could do that anymore. I didn't think that you could just,
You really can't. But if you're Cardi B, I mean, yeah, sure. But like,
well, you just got to stop by the office.
You can't just pull up on a school anymore.
Right. And you go in the office and you check in. It's like, and who are you with?
Right.
Yeah. Whose child are you here to see? Yeah.
You know me, Cardi B.
Her visit was a surprise, and the unannounced drop-in included her taking some questions and having an open conversation with students about their favorite part of school, the favorite teachers, and she too gave some sage life advice. And at the end of her visit, she presented to IS, the Independent School 232, with a $100,000 donation.
Oh, that's not bad.
Not bad. She would like to see it go towards after-school programs, including tutoring and music and dance, which apparently they don't have enough of.
For sure.
And this is a part of her work with the Queens-based nonprofit Community Capacity Development. If you guys could, would you go back to your old schools and do that same kind of thing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, my elementary school was legit. Shout out to Mark T. Skinner Elementary School, Principal Deborah Clark.
I'm sorry, what was the school?
Mark T. Skinner Elementary
Skinner.
School.
Okay, yeah.
My elementary school was.
Yeah, I'd go back to Wenderly Green, but I wouldn't go back to St. Margaret's.
St. Margaret's on 98th and Troop.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'd hook up Wenderly Green, but St. Margaret's, they charge us enough as it is. They still, on my credit for the world's finest chocolate bars I ate when we were supposed to be selling them. I think I get bad credit behind that to this day.
Okay, and you don't want nuns coming after you for your money?
Nope, Sister Barbara, Sister Rosalima, neither one of them. I don't want to see it. But my Wenderly Green Elementary, I have gone back and presided over the graduation a couple of times.
Oh, nice.
And kept in touch with the school. Yeah, and now that you mentioned, I will go back at the end of this year and just see what's going on. or at some point during the school year, because it's still in my mother's community, and it's a school that it served me well. So yeah.
That is so great. That
But
is
St.
wonderful.
Margaret's, nah.
Nah.
We was already paying. In fact, they had no sympathy when my parents broke up. I had to leave in 8th grade and go back to public school. So take that, St. Margaret.
We don't want to do that to the mean nuns. We don't want to do
It
that.
ain't the nuns, it's the school.
Well, don't
even get me started on that with the whole archdiocese. So let's move on.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
We don't want to do
All
that.
right. I'm sorry, Sybil. I know you're corporate. My bad.
No, not corporate. Just a little sensitive about, the use of that. Brilliant. Positive.
Zoom. Remember Zoom?
Come on,
Oh,
give
yeah.
it a try.
Yeah.
So that's good. As a good fun time had by me anyway. I hope everyone has had a good time this afternoon. And as we wrap this up, don't forget to check out Damon at Riddles. And we look forward to it. And one more thing. Is it still possible to vote, Khameron, on your project?
No, voting is closed. So
Okay.
we're just gonna have to wait.
And the views expressed by David Williams are those of David Williams and not Sybil Wilkes, Yoshi Entertainment, or the subsidiaries YouTube, Facebook, Metaverse, or anyone else.
Except maybe Cameron Riley. He always seems to be hanging with you.
Yeah, I share a few of Damon's views.
That's what I thought. You guys are born brothers. I believe that.
Yeah.
Yogi's Jewel, today's daily inspiration. Silence, Damon, is a show of strength. Bye, everybody.